Have you ever had a bad day, or maybe a family member had a bad day, and what they really needed was just a good hug? Well, today we're going to read Hugga Loula. It was written by our friend Nancy Dearborn. It was illustrated by Hugga Loula. Let's read it. Hugga Loula. Hugga Loula lay on her bed, reading a book. She heard a terrible racket coming from the garage. It was the crashing of Dad's tools. Hugga Loula raced to the garage. Dad was muttering angry words under his breath. "What's wrong?" Hugga Loula asked. Dad's tools were scattered all over the floor, and he was searching through them. I need. Before Dad could finish his sentence, Hugga Loula said, "If you're grumpy or sad, frustrated or mad, just give a shout and hug it out." Then she wrapped her arms around him, and Dad's anger evaporated into thin air. "Thank you," he said. "I was going to say my slip joint pliers, but a hug is what I really needed." Hugga Loula searched through Dad's tools, found his pliers, and helped Dad tighten those bolts with a clink, clink. Then she returned to reading her book. Hugga Loula had just settled in again when she heard a commotion coming from the kitchen. It was the clanging and banging of Mom's pots and pans. Hugga Loula hurried to the kitchen. Mom was mumbling under her breath. "What's wrong?" Hugga Loula asked. "I guess I'm a little stressed out," Mom said. Pots and pans were scattered all over the kitchen counter. Mom was searching through them. I need. Before Mom could finish her sentence, Hugga Loula said, "If you're grumpy or sad, frustrated or mad, just give a shout and hug it out." Then she wrapped her arms around her, and Mom's stress melted away. "Thank you," Mom said. "I was going to say my saucepan, my small saucepan, but a hug is what I really needed." Hugga Loula searched through Mom's pots and pans, found the small saucepan, and helped Mom make soup with a stir. Then Hugga Loula returned to reading her book. Hugga Loula had just settled in again when she heard a ruckus coming from her brother's bedroom. It was the bumping and thumping of Steve's toys. Hugga Loula set down her book and rushed to his room. Tears ran down Steve's cheeks. "What's wrong?" Hugga Loula asked. His toys were scattered all over the floor, and he was searching through them. I need. Before Steve could finish his sentence, Hugga Loula said, "If you're grumpy or sad, frustrated or mad, just give a shout and hug it out." Then she wrapped her arms around him, and Steve's sad frown turned upside down. "Thank you," he said. "I was going to say my favorite truck, but a hug is what I really needed." Hugga Loula searched through Steve's toys, found his favorite truck, and handed it to him with a vroom, vroom. Then she returned to reading her book. Hugga Loula had just settled in again when Dad, Mom, Steve, and her dog, Lorenzo, appeared at her bedroom door. Dad cleared his throat. "You calmed and comforted us with your hugs, so we wanted to give you something in return." They all wrapped their arms around Hugga Loula and gave her the biggest, super duperest group hug ever. If you're grumpy or sad, frustrated or mad, just give a shout and hug it out. Hugga Loula by Nancy Dearborn, illustrated by Hugga Loula, published by Familius.